Okay, hook 'em horns, baby. How sweet is that to get a rivalry win at A&M in front of that hostile crowd? That was pretty incredible, pretty special. Bragging rights for the next year. You know, A&M waited a long time for that, couldn't get it done. And I was obviously extremely excited to watch as a fan Texas get that win. Now, it didn't come with a little bit of frustrations, right? First of all, hats off to our defense. They played incredible. A&M didn't sniff the end zone, some goal line stands, some fourth down stops offensively. And on special teams, we put the defense in some bad situations, and they bowed up and played outstanding. That was extremely fun to watch. They are dominant and going to need that performance next week against Georgia. Offensively, you know, like you scratch your head a little bit. We've got skill guys everywhere. To only score 17 points in a game like that is frustrating because that really could have been a game that you just run those guys off the field. We kind of go through some lull periods. We turn the ball over, but considering the environment, the crowd, the rivalry, hadn't played there in years, hadn't played against them in years, I get it. When you just look at the overall landscape of college football, Texas is celebrating a big win, which we should, but I don't know how crazy I'm feeling about them moving forward. Like, I certainly feel like we can beat Georgia. It's our only loss of the year. We owe them sort of a revenge game at a neutral site. Like, I'm pumped about it, but I still see some things that we have to figure out. Offensively, turning the football over and not just finishing people, because our defense is great. I love them to death. They're playing incredible, but you can't expect them to hold a team to 0 points. If they play well, don't turn the ball over, lean on their defense, they could clearly win this entire thing, like, easily. It's up for grabs. I'm glad I'm a Texas fan. We got to clean some things up. We got to figure out some things on offense, but everything is right there for us. We just got to play a little bit better. Okay, high level going into this Georgia game. Listen, Texas is coming off a more impressive victory over A&M on the road in that environment than Georgia is. Georgia was playing at home, gave up a lot of points to a Georgia Tech team who's all right and should have got beat. Okay, we all go back to the game we played the first time. But as of late, that's what I look at. These two teams know each other. Sark knows Coach Smart. They're going to put a plan together. It's all about the players going and executing, and I think Texas is in a better place than they were the first time we played Georgia. Just from an experience standpoint, they got punched in the mouth. They faced some adversity, over the last few weeks and figured out ways to win on the road at Arkansas, at Texas A&M. They went through some stuff, okay? I am looking at this matchup and looking at our defense and saying, like, the defense is playing great. Like, they're going to stop the run and make Carson Beck beat him with his arm, and I don't think he can do that. But on the flip side, Texas got to score more points. We come out early, swinging, pushing the ball down the field, running the football, and then we go through these little lulls. We turn the ball over. If you go into this game and lose the turnover battle, you're going to have a hard time beating a Kirby Smart coached football team. Yeah, I know Beck threw 3 picks last time, but we turned the ball over. We couldn't do anything. We gave the ball to them on our side of the field way too many times. Like, this game is going to come down to, can we run the football with Wisner like we've been doing the last few weeks, and can we not turn the football over? And on the flip side, lean on our defense. Our defense is playing great. Their ability to fly around, our front, they're going to pressure Beck all night long. And so I feel good about it. I do. But at the end of the day, offensively, play 4 quarters. We'll be all right. Looking back at the Texas-Georgia game, if you're Texas, from an emotional standpoint, that was a massive letdown, right? The fans were going crazy. It's one of the coolest environments I've ever seen at Memorial Stadium. And it was just kind of like a blah. Like, we didn't show up. We couldn't compete. We didn't do anything on offense. And the defense still had 3 interceptions on Beck, played pretty good, but we just kept giving Georgia the ball on our side of the field. And you can't hold up all night long doing a team. We said it all year long. It's all about who's playing better as you move into the college football playoff. I wouldn't say Georgia's playing better. They should have got beat last week. I would say Texas is playing better in certain phases. I would say our defense is playing elite. They're the best defense in the country. They'll stop anybody. And Georgia has their hands full doing anything against our defense if they come to play, which I certainly think they will. Offensively, we still got problems. We're running the football well, but we're turning the ball over in bad situations, and we just got to figure out a way to play ball control football. We've got the best skill. There's speed, there's size, there's strength across the board. We got to get those guys more involved. And this is what an opportunity to do it. It's been our problem. We go through these little waves and play good the first quarter, and then we don't show back up till late in the third, right? So being a little bit more consistent on offense, I think, will be the message from Coach Sark to the team this week. And then just, you've already lost to this team. You've handled the emotions of that. It was at home. Now let's handle the emotions of first year in the SEC, playing in the SEC championship at a neutral site. I had an old coach used to tell me, go out there and play with emotion, but don't be emotional. There's going to be ups and downs in this game. There's going to be momentum changes. Understand that, recognize that, and go out there and just strap it up and play. Because if we strap it up and play well, we're better than them. One of the things that jumped out to me when you watch the Georgia Tech game is ball all over them. And the way that our running backs are running, the way that our offensive line is blocking. I mean, really in the second half of Kentucky and against A&M last week, we just ran the football. I mean, I could feel it through the TV screen. We could get this ball back after a goal line snap. We're just going to run it every play. I do think there's a place for Arch in this game to come in and run the football with his legs, especially after what he did against A&M, the few times down in the red zone, that little zone read package. Anytime you have a guy that can move, it creates an added element to the defense that they have to respect. Okay. I think I'm not saying Arch is going to play a whole bunch in this game. I don't know. But I'm just saying what I see is I think that translates. I think we played him the first time. We didn't do anything on offense. Being able to throw that out on the field against A&M last week, and now knowing that Georgia has to prepare for that. And then you throw on the tape when you're watching Georgia Tech and you're like, holy cow, their quarterback ran all over Georgia. Like I think there might be a little bit of a emphasis on that this week, and certainly wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe a little bit more of that zone read package with Arch, and maybe not just in a red zone situation. All right, getting into this matchup, Georgia-Texas in the SEC championship. Look, who knows what happens? I just don't think this is going to be a shootout. I really don't. I think Texas defense is playing pretty good, and I think Texas's offense, we hadn't produced a lot. We've scored 17 points against Texas A&M. We scored 20 at Arkansas. We certainly have the ability to score 40. There's no doubt. But I look at this game, I see this matchup. I think it's going to be hard for Georgia to really beat Texas twice. I mean, Texas is extremely talented. And so I see this game, being somewhere around like a 23-20, win for Texas, 24-21, something like that. I see it being a great game. But at the end of the day, like the reason why I'm going with Texas again, I'm obviously a homer and I'm biased, but when I watch the tape, Texas can score at any point. We just haven't done it. There's explosive receivers all over the place. You have a great tight end, and you have a run game that has emerged over the last few weeks and it's really good. So you can control the clock. You can control the game by holding on the football with time of possession, and that may be the way that Texas chooses to play. But they got weapons. You can throw a go ball at any point and score 6. So, and then on the flip side, I just don't see anybody scoring on our defense. I don't think Georgia's offense is any good. Like they're okay. Like I think our defense is going to dominate. So I see this being a 23-20 type game for Texas and winning the SEC championship. First time in the SEC. Let's go, baby.